Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ezran Plays Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Only here it says Clan Quest, because I am playing a mod, which doesn't actually change that much. It's called Clan Quest, as you might have guessed from the dramatic title thing. And it adds basically just a couple of extra quests for each individual clan in the game. So, if you're familiar with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, or Vampire the Masquerade at all, that means enough to you, but if you're new to the game and you're wondering what I'm talking about, well, don't worry, I'm going over that right about now. So we're going to hit a new game. And the World of Darkness is a place where immortal monsters pull the strings of humanity. Violence and despair are common here. The world is bleak, but escape is an ever-present commodity. Perhaps too present. I'm sorry, I had to do that. Okay, so when you first start a new game of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, this will be true whether you're playing with the Clan Quest mod, which I will link in the description, by the way, or or just the vanilla game. You can pick two ways to generate your character. You can either answer a series of questions about the type of vampire you'd like to play and allow the game to create your character, which, if you've played Morrowind, it's like filling out the form. I'll go ahead and do that for a moment. You can choose your gender, yada yada yada. I'm going to pick male for this one. I'm not going to actually stick with this. I'm going to use the second option, which I'll get back to. You can fill out some various questions. I'm not going to read all these. You can go through it yourself. I don't really care about them that much. But you can go through these and it'll generate a character for you. Let's do that one. And that. I have been embraced by the Nosferatu. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't care. Shut up. Shut up. And it'll give you all this junk, tells you what everything means. And I'm gonna go ahead and skip through it, because I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what all of it means when I create a character personally. Hey, look, it's that again! Alright, so I'm gonna go directly to the character sheet and select my clan attributes and abilities myself. So obviously, they did stick me with the Nosferatu, and gods, they are friggin' ugly. I will not be playing them, but I will go through and tell you as much as I can about what each individual clan is about. Basically, their strengths, weaknesses, and everything. So the Bruja, and yes, it's pronounced Bruja with a Spanish accent type thing. It says they're passionate, idealists, and rebels, and you can read. I hope. And they're kind of in within the World of Darkness universe. They're kind of the rebellious type. They like to go out and just cause trouble, I guess you could say. They're free spirited. That's the best way to put it. They're free spirited. So they get a +1 to all of their brawl skills, which affects unarmed damage, and they're penalized with a -2 to all frenzy checks, and which may not actually be a bad thing depending on what you're doing. So basically, what you're wondering, and now some of you are going, "Oh my God, what's frenzy? This is so confusing already." So frenzy, when you're a vampire, you always have this thing called the beast lurking underneath your skin. And if you get too hungry, or if your humanity up here goes down too much, then you don't. Oh God, I hope people can see this mouse cursor. It would really suck if you couldn't. But if your humanity goes down too much, then you risk unleashing the beast, and your humanity goes down. I'm going to go through the tutorial. I'll explain all of this. So, suffice to say for now that Bruja get more chance to frenzy, which makes you lose control of your character and kill things. And there's the Gangrel, which they're similar. They get a -1 on all frenzy checks, but when they frenzy, they get hella strong and hella smart and hella tough. So they're going to be really powerful. So and I believe they're the only group that gets no, maybe. I'm trying to find maybe not. Where is it? I could have sworn that they got the one that gave them claws. Oh, there it is. Okay, I don't think they're the only one who gets this, but they're one of the few clans who get claws. Protean here. Lets you heat vision, deadly claws, aggravated damage is tough for vampires to resist. They gain better claws. Oh, and here they go into a war form, which makes them basically look like a werewolf, even though they're really not a werewolf. So we're going to go back here. Oh, I should mention, when you see this up here where it says UP 7.9 plus, I am using, like I said, the Clan Quest mod, and the Clan Quest mod includes the unofficial patch, which is what the UP stands for, 7.9. And then the plus version, which adds some extra small things and rearranges a few things to make them make a little bit more sense. I think a couple of artifacts are switched around and all sorts of things like that. So anyway, the Gangrel get they're super powerful and they're really, really, really great at beating the ever-loving crap out of things. Same with the Bruja. They're really great at beating the ever-loving crap out of things. Malkavians are quite interesting. They're almost certainly my favorite clan, but I'm not going to be playing them for this one. Uh, Malkavians are not good for a first playthrough. I would not absolutely not recommend them for a first playthrough of Vampire Bloodlines. But that is because their downside. Every clan has a downside, and their downside is that Malkavians are exceptionally insane. They're very, very, very good for a second playthrough because they're absolutely hilarious. But they're not really good for a first playthrough because their dialogue choices are kind of hard to understand if you haven't gone through the game once. And two, if you do manage to understand them, a lot of times they reveal lots of spoilers. So we're not going to go through that one this time because I don't want to mess with it. And then there's the Nosferatu, who are obviously, I don't even have to tell you what their downside is, do I? Well, I'm going to anyway. They are incredibly ugly. And in fact, you can't be spotted by anybody while you're playing the Nosferatu. They are another clan that is not good for a first playthrough. Because if you get spotted, you basically have to hide all the time. Because if you see these masks up here, they represent Masquerade violation. They represent they represent your Masquerade chances, basically. If you violate the Masquerade 5 times, there'll be little crosses through all of these, then you lose the game immediately. You automatically lose. Non-standard, game over. All that stuff. So you don't want to do that. And being spotted by a human while being a Nosferatu is an instant Masquerade violation. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get around there. Thankfully, humans are all seem to be very, very, very nearsighted. So you can still walk around a bit, but it's a bit harder than just being it's a bit harder than any of the other clans. I'm sorry, excuse me. And you know, you can move around in the sewers and stuff, but it's just a little bit harder to get around. I don't recommend them for a first playthrough. I will not be playing them either. The Toreador. These guys. Oh, I forgot to mention for the Nosferatu. The Nosferatu get extra blood from feeding on rats. They can never raise their appearance higher than 0. 0 dots. I'll explain that. I'll explain what what the numbers mean in a moment. Yeah, they get extra nourishment from feeding on rats, which you can do. It's a thing you can do. Usually get you 1 blood point, but Nosferatu get 2. Or 3. Is it 3? I don't remember, but that's useful. Oh, and rats won't run away from a Nosferatu character like they do from everybody else. Okay, so Toreador. These guys aren't very fun to me, but the Toreador's advantage and curse, depending on how well you play and how you like to play, is that all of their humanity shifts, whether they gain humanity or lose humanity, are doubled. Anytime they would normally gain 1 point of humanity, they gain 2. Anytime they would normally lose 1 point, they lose 2. Excuse me. They were really, really, really good if you want to play a very talkative character. They tend to start out with, here, let's go look at their stats. They start out with a point in appearance. They're very sexy. They're really good if you want to play a talkative character. And their celerity here lets you move real fast. Auspex increases your wits and perception, which increases your ability to shoot things. So, overall, they're pretty useful. And presence, what does presence do? It weakens everybody around you, I think. So, yeah, they're not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. I don't recommend them for a first-time player just because there's a lot of combat in the game, and Toreador don't make exceptional use of combat. But, they're not a terrible choice. They're a good choice. I just don't like them much. So there's the Tremere next, who get blood magic. They're physically frail compared to other vampires, so they can't raise any physical attribute above 4. But they get magic. That's the only way I can explain that. Plus, look at this. Doesn't she just look badass? Yeah, she looks badass. I can't. There's no way to beat around that. She is a badass. I will probably be playing as a Tremere. I haven't quite decided between if I want to play Gangrel or Tremere in this playthrough. But I'm going to decide as I go through here. I will probably end up playing Gangrel, actually, because Tremere are quite tough to play well. They're one that I wouldn't say you shouldn't play as your first character, but they're tougher. They will be one of the tougher clans to play as. So, and last but I don't know, certainly not least, I suppose, depending on how you think about it, are the Ventru. The Ventru have an ability called Dominate. That this makes them seem that they and the Tremere get it, and the Tremere can't make as effective use of it as the Ventru can. But they get an ability called Dominate, which basically lets you mind control whoever you're targeting, and it's really, really useful. However, they don't get any blood from rats, and feeding on a prostitute or a homeless person might make you sick. It's not a guaranteed thing, but there's a chance, and that will make you actually lose blood. So you have to be careful. You have to be really careful who you feed from. Uh, they're okay. They're not like the Tremere. They're kind of a tough start because it's kind of hard to find people to feed on, and when you need blood, you need blood. So I forgot to mention when I was at Malkavian, they have an ability called Dementation, which works very similarly in dialogue to what did I call it? Dominate. But it is probably one of the most powerful abilities in the game, in my opinion. Right, tied with blood magic, thaumaturgy. Uh, at their level 3, Dementation will instantly kill a human. It will instantly kill a human, just right away. So that's nice. They're quite powerful. But I think for this playthrough, I will play as Gangrel. I'm gonna play female just because I really hate that guy's dreads. I just really hate them. All right, so histories. These are most of these are added by the unofficial patch, so that's quite useful. This tells you, each one gives slight modifications to the start of your character. You can read through all of them. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to well, I probably will go through all of them actually because I have to read them. But they give you slight differences. 1 extra point sneaking and skills cost less experience. No thanks. I don't like that. Agent. Let's go look at this. What would that give me? It gives my unarmed 0. You really want good unarmed if you can get it. Because unarmed affects how easy it is to feed on a target that isn't really willing. So that makes it... Oh, no, I definitely don't want that. I'm going to be punching the crap out of things all the time. That is my favorite thing to do. Well, it's not my favorite thing, but I want to get good persuade and good... I want to have excellent persuade and excellent brawl skill. That's what I'm going for. Oh, hell no. That doesn't look good. Ghoul, no, that couldn't hurt. There are ways to get around Masquerade violations, and if I'm careful, I won't be getting any more of them. On the other hand, I do want to have space for frenzying, so... Oh no, sorry. That makes it tougher. Cannot increase my humanity above 7. Yes, actually this one is probably what I want. I don't mind frenzying that much. I'm going to check these other ones just to make sure. Animalism. I'm actually not going to use... That would be really good too, because soak bashing. Now we're going to go with and a gangrel here, which gives me an extra point in both fortitude and soak bashing, which means I will be able to take more punishment. I will be able to use my fortitude ability more often, and on the downside, my animalism costs a little bit more to use, but that's okay because I don't really like animalism that much personally. It's just not my favorite skill. I'm going to put a point in Protean. But what animalism does is it lets you summon strange creatures like ravens and beetles and stuff, and that's just not something I care too much about. So we're going to put 1 point in brawl and 1 point in dodge, which doesn't give me a whole lot of points into unarmed, but I need to get my defense up. Actually, you know what? No. I'm going to go ahead and put it both in the brawl and put my mental into wits, which will increase my defense and my hacking. Hacking is a really important skill, as is lockpicking. Lockpicking will be used constantly. You will absolutely love to have lockpicking, and I recommend you don't skimp on putting points into it. So with that, I'm going to put 1 into dexterity and 1 into strength to bring my lockpicking up to something reasonable. And I can't put anything into any of these, so I'm going to have to put a point into security. I'm actually going to put all of them into security, 2 of them into security, I'm sorry, and 1 into melee. And then last but not least, where's the one that increased persuasion? I know there was one. Was it one of these? Maybe it was... Which one of these was it? Scholarship. Yes. So hacking is useful, but not quite as useful as persuasion. You absolutely want points in persuasion because there are some secret things that you can't do unless you have points in persuasion, which is nice. I'm going to stick with Ellie. I like that name. I'm going to skip the... Oh, no, I'll let you guys watch the intro. So, boom. Wee, loading screens. They're amazing, right?
I want to show you something.
Good evening. My fellow kindred, my apologies for disrupting any business or interfering with prior engagements you may have had this evening. It's unfortunate that the affair that gathers us together tonight is a troubling one. We are here because the laws that bind our society, the laws that are the fabric of our existence, have been broken. As Prince, I am within my rights to grant or deny the kindred of this city the privilege of siring. Many of you have come to me seeking permission, and I have endorsed some of these requests. However, the accused that sits before you tonight was not refused permission. Indeed, my permission was never sought at all. They were caught shortly after the embrace of this child. It pains me to announce the sentence, as up to tonight I considered the accused a loyal and upstanding member of our organization. But as some of you may know, the penalty for this transgression is death. Know that I am no more adjudicator than I am a servant to the law that governs us all. Let tonight's proceedings serve as a reminder to our community that we must adhere to the code that binds our society, lest we endanger all of our blood. Forgive me. Let the penalty commence. Which leads to the fate of the ill-begotten progeny. Without a sire, most childer are doomed to walk the earth never knowing their place, their responsibility, and most importantly, the laws they must obey. Therefore, I have decided that
This is bullshit!
if Mr. Rodriguez would let me finish, I have decided to let this kindred live. They shall be instructed in the ways of our kind and be granted the same rights. Let no one say I am unsympathetic to the plights and causes of this community. I thank you all for attending these proceedings, and I hope their significance is not lost. Good evening. Your sire, tragic, my apologies. But you see, there is a strict code of conduct that all of us must adhere to if we wish to survive. When anyone breaks these laws, they undermine the well-worn fabric of our centuries-old society. Understand my predicament. Allowing you to live makes me directly responsible for your subsequent behavior. So, what I'm offering is not generosity. but the opportunity to transcend the fate woven by your sire. This is your trial. You will be brought to Santa Monica. There you will meet an agent by the name of Mercurio. He will provide the details of your labor. I've shown you great clemency. Prove it was more than a wasted gesture, fledgling. Don't come back until you do. Good evening.
Oh, right. That was fun, wasn't it? Didn't he sound like a douche? He's totally a douche. So I'm going to end this video here, and we'll kick off the next video with the tutorial. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.